Hello, everybody. This is the Insane Game Freak here. I've been in a weird fucking coma for like the last. How many days would I say? It's been like the last 2 to 3 days. I think it's just been 2 days, but it feels like 3 days, and now it's turned into 4 days because Xenoblade has taken over my life, and I said I probably need to come on here and tell you guys about it before I black out again, which is a very high possibility that will happen. So, intro start. So, Xenoblade's been out, and I will honestly say this is I think I haven't done this in a long time, where I had like two fucking like 10-hour gaming sessions, 7 to 10 hour gaming sessions, and I haven't done that in a while. Like usually, you can't get me to play a game more than maybe like an hour or two, maybe three if I'm enjoying it. Xenoblade, no bullshit. I think I played for like 7 to 10 hours the first fucking day. And it wasn't like that whole, like I took a break. That's why I'm saying 7 to 10. I think it was 10 hours in total, but I think I had like a 3 hour session, and then I had this really long 7 hour session. And every time I cut on the fucking game, it always turns into this long ass session. Like last night. Last night I picked up the game at, well, actually last night was a fuck it day. Like last night my whole intention was to do nothing but dick around and probably play the game. And I think I played it for like 4 hours in the morning, and then for some reason I said I need to take a break. I need to go do something productive. I went and did something productive and chilled out for a little while, and then I cut the game back on and played it until like 4 o'clock in the morning. What? And it was stupid because I stopped because I was getting my ass whooped at a boss fight. And then, I'm sitting there, and then what am I doing? I'm looking up footage of the game and said, fuck it, I'm going to go back at it. And I was like, fuck it, fine, I'm going to beat the boss fight. And I almost wanted to keep going. So I think I have probably near 20 hours in the game at this point. Which, considering this game, from what I've heard, is primarily beaten somewhere between like 70 and 90 hours. You actually can't beat this game even if you were dedicated enough in the 2 days it's been out. The game, probably the earliest this game will be officially beaten will probably be like by either today or tomorrow, depending on how fast people are with this game. This game is addictive. It's surprisingly addictive, and it's weird because I was afraid I wasn't going to be into the game as much because I didn't get into the original Xenoblade. And I will say, in terms of like a full professional review that I think encapsulates most people's feelings about the game, go watch Game Explain's review. And listen, Game Explain isn't always the greatest with their reviews, but Derek's review of that shit was like god tier. That is a great ass review, and it's a spoiler free review, so I would definitely go fuck with it. But that's not the point. If you want my first impressions, it's so weird. It's one of those games, and I know a lot of people have seen the footage and went, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I don't know if this is gonna be good. I promise you, this is probably the sad fate of this game. This game is the type of game that lives and dies off of you playing it yourself. It's not one of those games that you can watch the trailer on. You can watch gameplay footage and be like, oh, I totally get it. Like some people might, but like the majority of people, you won't understand the enjoyment of this game unless you put your hands on a controller and play the fucking game. The problem is that this is the kind of game that you also can't just make a random demo for, because there are a lot of fucking mechanics in the game. I put it this way, I'm 20 hours into the game and I still have things in my menu that are locked, that still have question marks behind it. That's how extensive this fucking game is. I'm probably somewhere between 15 to 20 hours, and I still got shit in my goddamn menu that I can't access yet. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Hell, I just got the ability. You know how I don't know if anyone's who's seen the direct, how you can have 3 blades at a time, and obviously Rex can have 4 because of the whole Pyra and Mithra thing from some of the trailers. I just got the option to have 3 blades in my goddamn per character. Except for Tora, who can't use them because he technically doesn't have the aptitude to being a driver. That is the most ridiculous shit. This game is super, and I will say this is probably one of my favorite tutorials in the game, where the game is slowly teaching you new concepts, but it doesn't. It almost trips you out because you're sitting there going, yeah, but I'm like 10 hours into the game, 10 to 20 hours in the game. It's also one of those games I've heard people say has a slow beginning. No. You might think that, but in retrospect, it's not really slow. You think it's slow, but it's not really slow. And if you played RPGs, I don't know how many people play RPGs and they're sitting there going, yeah, RPGs have really fast beginnings. Most of them don't. And I would say Xenoblade 2, for the most part, its beginning is fine. And I'm actually surprised. I actually thought it would be slower than this. So I give it props. I thought because it's so story focused, I thought Xenoblade's 2 opening would be super slow. The game does a good mix of like cutscene and gameplay interlaced in the beginning, because obviously you're doing a lot of info dumping, which it kind of does. I will give the game a lot of props for the fact that it did a good mix of gameplay and cutscenes, so it doesn't feel as long as it been. Like when I realized I didn't even start like playing like where I got like the area I could walk in and fight monsters. That didn't happen officially until probably like 3 hours into the game. And it's not like you're not doing battling and fighting before that. But I mean like the traditional Xenoblade experience where you walk out into an open field and you start fighting monsters. That shit doesn't happen until probably like 3 hours into the game, which is trippy as fuck when you think about it. But that's the case, and it's crazy. But I guess to talk about the gameplay mechanics, it's weird because everything stacks on top of each other. So the final result is fucking ridiculous, but like the steps leading into it is actually pretty enjoyable. Because the general idea is this: you start off with auto attacking. Auto attacking is something that'll happen regardless if you press buttons or not. All you gotta do is stand there. In the beginning, that's all you're fucking doing, because most enemies die quick enough to where your arts don't charge. Then as you're auto attacking, that leads into arts. You use your arts, that leads into bigger damage, and depending on the art, depends on certain stipulations, like certain arts have certain effects to them, and some of them will drop HP potions for you to gain back HP in a fight. They all have little different effects. But of course, you're doing that, and then you're canceling out, you're doing something called like auto attack canceling to charge your major specials to your actual specials, not your arts, your specials. Which is an auto, and it trips me out because I think auto canceling, honestly, at this point, I would say is almost required to get through the game, because you aren't going to do nowhere near as much damage or even make it for some of the chain attacks you'll have to do later on, or elemental chains you'll have to do later on, unless you know how to damn cancel, auto cancel. Which all that is that each weapon, their auto attack has a rhythm to it. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because they always throw out 3 punches, kicks, or whatever the hell your weapon you're using. Auto attack canceling is on that hitting the arts button in that rhythm will cancel out the auto attack, but also allow your art to do more damage than normal because you canceled out of it instead of just hitting the button. And you can tell because the game gives you a visual cue. A blue circle will kind of flash in front of Rex if you do it right, and that's how you know you've done it right, and you can cancel and it'll do more damage. And that shit is essential because you use that to charge up your specials. But it trips me out because like you look at X in the overdrive system, and people were saying the overdrive system was broken, but the overdrive system to me didn't really seem to have that much strategy to it. It kind of like you just waited to activate it, and then all you had to do was just keep the chain going to keep the overdrive up, and that was about it. Here it's like you auto attack you cancel out your auto attacks, you position yourself properly for your arts, you get your specials, but you need to, and then eventually when you get all your party members, or at least 3 party members, you can start chaining like elementals with them, because certain attacks have like Pyra's fire, Tor's ground, or earth, and Nia's water. You can start chaining those elemental attacks together. They'll show a list of chains you can do, and it's like, okay, fine. If you can choose whether you want to start off with Tor's earth attacks or Nia's water attacks or Pyra's fire attacks, and it will change the kind of chains you can do, elemental chains you can do. But it's also like, well, they still have to build up that special, so you have a window in time between when that chain of when you can activate that chain, and it's like, There's so much shit, and that's just basic. I'm not even talking about like chain attacks, which are your supers, which are a part of the party gauge, where you have to make the decision because the party gauge is also used to revive teammates. And it's like, okay, if I use the chain attack, I lose the ability to revive my party members for a while until I build back up the gauge. So I can use the chain attack for big damage, or I can wait and just try to take them out normally and keep all my revives. Because the chain attack wipes out the gauge. It's not like a fucking, oh, it takes out a bar. It takes out the whole goddamn gauge. There's so much shit in this game. It pisses me off because it's so hard to convey how much there is in this game in the short amount of time of first impressions. But I feel way more in control of these battles. I don't feel like I'm just flipping through arts. I think that was the problem I kind of got with X, at least, because I don't have that much experience with the original Xenoblade. It felt like I was just flipping through arts and just waiting. I was just waiting for the arts to charge. And I'm still doing the similar thing, but I'm also paying attention to positioning. Because certain attacks, and once again, that's like the original X and Xenoblade. But it feels like I'm also building towards something. It's not like I'm just throwing out arts and I'm just waiting for the enemy to die. I'm also waiting for my special to charge. And then also with my special, I'm waiting for Tora and Nia to charge their goddamn specials so we can do chain attacks. So the situation becomes like, okay, my special's charge, but do I throw it out now and then I have to play the long waiting game hoping to God that Tora and Nia charge their specials in time for me to continue the chain, or do I wait it out? Wait a little while, wait until I see theirs also charged, and then just chain it all together. Because it also pays to wait. It's a weird tug of war where you don't have to throw out the art as soon as you get it. And it's actually sometimes better for you to wait. Same thing with chain attacks. You can see how well you're doing in the fight, and you could be like about to die and be like, well, I could throw out the chain attack, but if one of my party members dies right afterwards, there's a high chance I'm not gonna be able to revive them. And in this game, party members mean way more. It's like, I think in the game you start off with Rex, and there are sequences in which you're only playing with Rex. And bruh, does it hurt when you realize that Rex, although can do damage, it don't mean shit when enemies are fucking piling on you. I think that's one of the scariest things in this game. It has that same element of Xenoblade X, where you can run across high-level monsters in a low-level monster field, because that's the dangerousness of the world. But the worst thing in this game, and the most terrifying thing, is when you're fighting an enemy, and if the enemy has like a desperation mode, where he'll either get a stat boost, some of them will run off and go get their friends that are like down the goddamn way, and then all of a sudden it's turned into, to stop being like a one-on-one fight, or in most cases a 3-on-1 fight, and turns into this like 6-on-3 fight, and you're like, oh, how did things go wrong so fucking quickly? Because some of the motherfuckers, okay, for certain monsters is not as big of a deal, but some of them will go get like their older brothers, in the sense of like they're like bigger, stronger versions of the monster you're currently fighting. And some of those enemies will beat the shit out of you. And it's usually just due to like 1 or 2 moves they have that just do either a stupid amount of damage or cause an annoying ass status effect you can't do shit about. And it's just like, oh my god. It's weird. It's a weird mix, because although it's definitely more Xenoblade 1 from what I've seen than it is Xenoblade 2, than it is X, it still has elements of X in there. It felt like it kind of took the parts of X that worked, which apparently was everything but the battle system. It's just bad, because I like the battle system in X, but the reality is this is so much fucking better. And there's all these little things you can do with the rare blades and the elementals, although the rare blades are like fucking RNG. Meaning you just gotta hope to God you get a rare one, because you're not guaranteed anything at all. You can use these core crystals to get more blades. Even if you use a rare core crystal, that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get a rare blade. You have a higher chance of getting one, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get one. And it's like, fuck me. No. Which I've gotten a few of them. I think I have maybe 3 rare blades at the moment. And they all have their own stats and stuff. And then you have to look at the affinity chart with your blades to see if you can unlock new abilities. Oh, pro tip, there are 2 things I want to tell people for those who are just starting the game. Especially because of the boss fight I just went across that drove me up the fucking wall for a while. 2 things. your characters, all your characters actually have 4 arts, but you can only equip 3. And some of you might think this is really basic shit. No, you will be fucking surprised. I went through this game and did not realize that until that boss fight. And it wasn't until I saw someone else's gameplay footage and I was like, why does he have a different attack than me? And went, oh, I have 4 arts. You can change out which ones you want to equip. For Rex, I would say you definitely need to look at that shit because there's a particular art that does a lot more damage and is a lot more effective than the one you have. So definitely remember you have 4 arts. Switch them bitches out if the situation calls for it. That's all I'm gonna say. The second thing is that apparently when it comes to your blades gaining like affinity levels and gaining new abilities, it's not one of, even though the game will notify you when it happens, you actually have to go into the menu and open up like the weapon's actual like affinity chart for it to activate. Meaning you could be gaining affinity shit all the time, but if you don't fucking open up the chart, it won't actually register as their ability yet. It won't do that until you open up the chart. So that's another thing to keep in mind, which you should be doing anyway. Because to me, like this game, and like other RPGs, you spend a lot of time in your menus. And I think the only thing I don't like about the game so far is that it doesn't autosave, which fucking sucks. And the game definitely has some slowdown in it. And I feel bad because the slowdown seems to be the absolute worst in the first goddamn real town you get to. Not the one you start in. I'm talking about the first town you go to. There's a good amount of slowdown there, and it's just like, Also, I don't know how I think people are very mixed on Poppy's upgrading system. Since, as like I said before, Poppy isn't an actual blade, so Poppy can't get upgraded the same way. Also, Poppy can't even be fucking... Tora can't even have more than one blade because because he can't be a real driver, so he can't use core crystals. So literally, you'll have like 6 blades between you and Nia, and Tora sitting over here like, I only got Poppy. Although I love the interaction in this game, dude. I could geek out about this game for like 30 minutes, and knowing Juices Loose tomorrow will be about that, I'm not gonna go too much in depth. But I'll say this: like the characters. Just got introduced to a character that was shown in some of the recent trailers, but I don't know enough about him because I haven't seen enough of his stuff yet. I posted some pictures on Twitter. I'm so fucking excited. Also, just went through some major plot twists. I'm not going to spoil anything, but Jesus, this game is so fucking good, yo. Bro, it trips me out. Every fucking game Nintendo talked about this year got fucking released at the timely fashion. Every game came out, nothing got delayed. Wow, this is a good year to be a Nintendo fan. This game, as I said, I put down Pokemon. I haven't even touched Pokemon the whole time I've had this game, and I probably won't until I beat the game, because this shit is addictive. Like, I know today I'm gonna get off, I'm gonna render this video, put it up, and then go to the gym. And then I remind myself I have to go to work tomorrow, and I'm probably going to be a weak bitch all day. As soon as I get back from the gym, probably playing this for another 10 hours. The game is stupidly addictive. It's weird, and it's so weird because I didn't think it. I don't even think X hooked me this well. Today is a good day, folks. Today is a good day. But I'm not gonna talk your heads off. It's almost been 20 minutes. First impressions are extremely positive. I have some minor gripes like the frame rate, and I don't really mind the voice acting, but I recognize it isn't like, I wouldn't call it amazing. Like, you can tell certain characters just don't do as well as others. I don't think it's nowhere near as atrocious as people are saying it is. Like, people need to remember, voice acting may have gotten better, but you can still find some really bad dubs. A lot worse than this. So I don't think it's terrible by any means. The lip syncing is bad, but then again, if you played anime games at this point, you're kind of used to that shit. Actually, most of you aren't even playing this game in English. I'll be real with you. Most of you are probably playing this game in Japanese as soon as you were hearing, like, and it's bad. I feel bad because some of these voices are really fucking good. The lip syncing is probably the most offensive thing about the dub so far. Not even the voices themselves, just the lip syncing, which is just the compromise they made. They said either we can match the lip flaps and it can sound even more stilted, or we could just say fuck the lip flaps and just kind of get in the general range. I can't stand that for animes, but I'm perfectly fine with it for games because I realize how annoying it is to reanimate. Because that's essentially what they do. They have to reanimate every cutscene in the game for the English voice acting, and to me that would have caused the game to be delayed. I'm fine. I'm fine with the way it is personally. That's just me. But please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Are you all about that Xeno life? And who is your Xeno wife? Hey, yo Xeno wife. Hey, Xeno wife. See, hashtag Xeno wife. Everyone go get their picture of their favorite blades. Hashtag Xeno life and Xeno wife in the goddamn on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out.